Because when you argue with the creationists, they usually ask you things they don't want the answers to. They don't want to know what the answer is. They're looking for that place where you don't know what the answer is, because they think that whatever is unexplained by science is somehow explained by magic, which of course makes no sense. There was a lot of things that we used to believe were supernatural, and then we've discovered what the real answer was. And that doesn't mean that before we knew what that answer was, like with epilepsy, for example. I mean, Socrates wrote that people believed that epilepsy was demonic possession. And he already knew that that was wrong, that there had to be a better explanation than that. And so when we didn't know about how the brain functions, well, we didn't know your neuropathy or any of that, that did not mean that our lack of understanding in that meant that God did it. It didn't mean that it was supernatural, that the supernatural explanation was wrong then, even before we knew what the real explanation was. And so it has always been that way. Every time we find anytime we find anything to be, the natural explanation for anything, or when we find the explanation for anything, it always turns out to be natural. It's never supernatural. It's never magical. Mysticism has zero credence. Prayers don't work. It's been a complete failing game.
Amazing. What are you? So is your wife an atheist now?
Yes.
And are you still an atheist?
Yes.
You're not a Satanist?
I am a Satanist in the sense that I paid $25 for a membership to the Satanic Temple. Technically, that makes me a Satanist.
So why would you become a Satanist if
reason
you
that
don't believe that Satan exists?
Because Satanists don't believe that Satan exists.
What do they believe? Well,
They
why
don't.
do they call themselves Satan then?
The Church of Satan, established in 1966 by Anton LaVey, if you look up their website, they have a listing of beliefs wherein they say pretty explicitly that they do not believe in an actual devil, that they follow the science. And if you look up the Satanic Temple FAQ, the FAQ, the Satanic Temple, established in 2013, also says that they don't believe in a literal Satan and an actual Satan. Satan is a symbolic character, much like Mother Nature or Uncle Sam, something like that. Excuse the dog, please. The
Is the
symbolic,
dog an atheist as well?
well, if the dog has not been convinced to believe in supernatural things for no good reason, then he doesn't. So my position is that we are born atheist until somebody lies to us.
Amazing. And so, I'm sorry, you said your wife is not or is an atheist?
She is an atheist.
She is an atheist. Is she happier now as an atheist than she was when she was a Christian?
Absolutely, yes.
Really?
Though that's not relevant necessarily. I mean, I forget who the poet was. George Bernard Shaw said something along the lines of whether a believer is happier than a skeptic is no more to the point than why a drunk person is happier than a sober one.
Tell me again, why did you join an atheist club? Because it sounds like you don't believe in joining. Why would you left the Christian church, which was a joining, but you joined an atheist church.
I didn't join an atheist church.
You said you became a member, right?
I bought a membership to the Satanic Temple.
Why?
Yes.
Why?
But I also bought. I have ordinations at the Universal Life Church, at the Church of the Subgenius, at the Church of the Latter Day Dude, and have also supported the Church of the. They're all joke churches.
So what was the purpose of you buying memberships there? Why did you buy membership with those?
Because they're all activists as well.
And what type of activists?
Yeah. So I mean, I'm on the board of directors for American Atheists, and that organization is all about defense of the First Amendment, which Christian nationalists are uniformly against. So the freedom of religion, where Congress shall make no law establishing a religion, they want to establish a religion, and Congress shall not prohibit the free exercise of religion, but Christian nationalism wants to prohibit the practice of other religions. And then there's also the other everything in the First Amendment is the Christian nationalists are against: the free speech, the freedom to assemble, all of it. And so atheist activists, the American atheists, for example, are trying our best to defend the First Amendment. And the Satanic Temple proved to be very valuable allies in that.
I noticed that the atheist people, the satanic people, are jealous of the Christians, and they want to.
Excuse me?
Yeah, wherever the Christians.
Would you say that doctors are jealous of cancer patients?
Wherever the Christians go and establish themselves, the atheists come there or go there to try to influence the devil instead of God. Why are they jealous?
There is no devil.
But they have a statue of what they believe is Satan. If they don't believe that there is a Satan, why would they have symbols or statues of the devil if they don't believe there would be nothing there if they didn't believe that the devil existed?
Again, you're conflating atheists and Satanists. Not all atheists are Satanists, and being Satanist really means no more than you just hold to the 7 tenets, which are ethical tenets, and they're better than the 10 Commandments.
So why do they have this image of Satan if they don't believe it?
For the reason I just explained, that Satan is a symbolic character, and they use that in their activism for First Amendment defense.
But I still don't understand that. If you don't believe something exists, how are you going to come up with a symbolic symbol of something that's not even in your mind that's real? It's not even in existence.
It's a symbol. Like, we don't believe that Uncle Sam exists, yet we depict him all over the place if you're patriotic, right?
But Uncle Sam does exist. His name is Joe Biden now.
No, Uncle Sam and Joe Biden are not the same thing.
No, I'm
and
joking.
the president of the United States is not Uncle Sam and never was.
He Grandpa Biden right now.
Character. Uncle Sam was a symbolic character meant to represent the United States. That's why his initials are Uncle Sam.
But it still doesn't make sense to me why these people are jealous of the Christians. And
they're not. And they not remotely.
Well, they always go and try to rule the Christians out by trying to overshadow them, and they bring this image. Symbolic image of the devil. No. That doesn't make sense to me. If I don't believe
it's something not like that at all.
If I don't believe something that exists,
we are trying to help you. To say that we are jealous of you is to say that a doctor is jealous of cancer patients.
It may be.
Doctors don't help cancer patients because they want cancer.
Right. Doctors help cancer patients because they're on an ego trip.
No, doctors do not help.
I can prove that because if a cancer patient say, "Okay, Mr. Doctor or Miss Doctor, I don't want that medication for my cancer. I'm going over to this person and I'm gonna take real stuff, come from the earth." That doctor would get jealous.
Then the doctor knows that person is going to die from
the doctor get jealous and say, "No, you can't go to a natural doctor. What? I'm the hero here."
Jealousy.
Yeah, that's jealousy. And so
it is not jealousy. If you tell me that you have a magic amulet, and that will, or a ring, and that because you wear this ring, that the ring wards off tigers, and then you go out in the front yard and show that there are no tigers in in Detroit or whatever, well, that doesn't mean the ring works.
But I'm not going to have a symbolic of anything that I don't believe in. If I don't believe it exists, how do I even come up with a symbol?
So you come up with a symbol, like when they established the United States, they created this character, Uncle Sam.
But these people created the devil while they're saying the devil doesn't exist.
Because it's a symbol.
Let me ask you this. You said that prayer, you used to pray, I guess, and prayer never worked. What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, you're talking to yourself. You don't have magic powers. So prayer doesn't work.
And so I don't know if you can, but can you name me one thing that you prayed to God about and it didn't work for you?
Well, I can name something that did, which I think will be.
Can you name something that didn't work?
Yeah, I'll name something that did.
How about something that didn't?
I know, and I'm going to name something that did. When I was 12 years old and I started reading the Bible, I soon threw it across the room in disgust because I was lied to about what the Bible is. I was told that the Bible was the word of God, that it was the absolute truth, that God is love and God is wisdom and all of that. And you don't have to get very far into the Bible to realize that none of that is true. But I still believed in God. I could not believe in the Bible for obvious reasons. I mean, all you got to do is read the Bible to know that it's complete garbage. So I prayed to God, just like it says in Matthew, I think 10. Or was it Matthew 6? But I prayed to God in the privacy of my own room so as not to be like the hypocrites. And I asked God to redeem himself, to either well, he explained himself really to either show that the Bible was completely wrong about him or justify all of the horrible, ignorant stupidity that was being attributed to him in the Bible. And that answer, that prayer, I could say, was answered because over the course of the rest of my life, I have seen nothing but endless proof that the Bible is wrong.
And what proof? Can you give me an example of the proof to prove that is wrong?
Well, yeah, we know for certain that the global flood never happened. We've got all kinds of proof from every available.
And how do you
relevant
know that
science,
for certain?
because I've studied geology and archaeology and anthropology.
And why do you believe
paleontology.
them?
What's that?
Why do you believe them?
Because I have the proof for them.
Amazing. And so, so that's your proof that you prayed to God for something and it didn't work.
And it never works.
Uh,
I mean, as George Carlin put it, you can pray to God and you will get the same success rate as if you pray to Joe Pesci. So there's the old phrase that the Lord only helps those who helps themselves, because of course God doesn't ever actually do anything. You have to do it yourself.
Amazing. And so if you don't believe, well, you don't believe there is a God, and I totally understand why. You're very, very clear to me as to why you don't believe there is a God. But let me ask, if there is no God, how did you come about?
How much time do you have for an evolutionary lesson?
Not a lot at all.
Okay. I did a 50-part series on the systematic classification of life on my channel. Anybody that's interested in that can go look at that. If you want the origin of life, I've also done a series of videos that are talking about that as well, in covering dozens of different scientific studies for the different incremental stages of the development of life.
So how did you come about?
I just told you.
How did you cause yourself to breathe?
You and I both are descended from earlier apes who already breathe.
That's how you cause yourself to breathe?
You don't have to cause yourself to breathe. You're descended from beings that already breathe.
And so you think that you breathe breath into, you start to breathe because when you were born into the earth through your mother, you gather breath from that.
We have we have ingrained responses that we have inherited for many generations in prior incarnations of very similar forms, where we vary slightly from them, each at every stage. I can teach you evolution, but it is complicated and it's long because there's an awful lot to it. But I can teach it to you. I probably can't explain it to you if you have absolutely no idea. If the questions you're asking me now reveal that you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about, but I could explain this to you, and it would just take time, like taking a college course. So It's not something I can explain very, very quickly. It's not something I can explain in just a couple of minutes.
Have you, over your time of doing what you're doing, have you convinced a lot of Christians that they shouldn't be Christians? That there is no God?
Yes, I get frequent messages in various sources from believers, at least one or two a week, up to one a day, from former believers thanking me for having walked them out of their delusion.
Amazing.
And also for altering their lives. I mean, I've had a number of people who tell me that because of my video lessons and whatnot, they've decided to take up science, or they're now pursuing science as a career, something like that.
How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that?
I'm delighted. I mean,
that you turn people away from God. How do you feel about that?
If I've pulled somebody away from a lie, if I've cured someone of a poisonous, dangerous, misleading delusion, then I am delighted, because that is all God is.
So you celebrate turning people away from God?
I celebrate curing people of their poisonous delusions. Yes.
I understand that. I understand why you would celebrate that. But let me ask, when you are afraid, because you become afraid sometime inside, or you feel lonely, or you feel like something is missing, what do you do about those moments when you're alone, no one is around, and you have to deal with you? How do you deal with those moments when you feel fear on the inside, or doubt, or whatever? Those empty moments, how do you deal with that?
don't know that I have those moments.
You never had empty moments?
I don't even know what an empty moment
Do
means.
you ever have fear moments from within?
I don't know what you mean.
Do you love the
Are you?
Christians?
What's that?
Do you love the Christians?
Once again, I'm sure that doctors treat patients because they care for their patients. You think they don't. You think doctors are only self-serving, and the only reason they want to cure patients is to make money out of it.
Yeah, to
I'm
make
sure that
money and
people
be
go to. I
glorified
mean, my
for it.
daughter, my daughter is pursuing a medical career, and it is because she cares about other people.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So you're going to tell me that my daughter is just. You don't know how to hold a conversation very well if all you're going to do is insult your guests and their families.
How am I insulted? I'm disagreeing.
How are you insulting? By telling me that my daughter is a liar and that she doesn't actually care about people. You don't know how that's insulting.
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, I wish somebody had, your mother, your father, Mr. Rogers, or somebody else taught you some basic manners like I learned when I was a kid.
Do you love the Christians?
Once again, I love people. And if those people are infested with a lie that is counterproductive and destroying them, yes, I will help them as best I can so that they will be better people and thus not Christian anymore.
So I'm black and slow. I want to know, do you love the Christians?
Once again, Christians are all people. I love people. And so I will help people. And whether they're afflicted with a poisonous religion, whether it be Christianity or Islam or Hinduism or whatever, I will do my best to help them out of that delusion.
And how about the Christians? Do you love them?
How many times do I have to answer yes in different ways?
But yes, I was looking for the yes or not different ways, but just
Oh
the
yeah,
yes
well,
or
I
no.
want to make sure that people understand me, because if I just say yes, then it seems that I would just don't love Christians, but I want people to understand that I love all people, and it doesn't matter if they have a delusion or not, or which delusion it is.
But I didn't ask about all people. I just
I know
asked
you
about the
didn't.
Christians.
I was clarifying with my answer.